Hello, welcome to the data channel and you're watching the Microsoft Fabric tutorial. And in this, as part of this video, we will discuss one more topic as part of the Microsoft Fabric, that is data activator. So as you see, this is a logo or icon of the data activator which is part of the Microsoft Fabric concept that Microsoft has. And so if you have not seen the previous videos, we would recommend you to please see the previous videos in this playlist in the order to understand this course in detail. So before proceeding, if you are new to the channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So the data activator, right? So we've already seen this Microsoft Fabric architecture or the Microsoft Fabric landscape in the previous videos, and as you can see, it's a completely SaaS solution and built on all the data is stored in the one lake, and there are different services that interact with this one lake, which that is the data stored in the one lake, right? And so we are specifically talking about this, that is a data activator. So as part of Microsoft Fabric, right? So let's get started and see what exactly this data activator in Microsoft Fabric does. Yes. So data activator purpose and principle, if you want to see, right? So you might have done this using some Python code. Basically, like you might have some change data capture. That means there is some in the source. You are having a source system that is a database, and you have a target system that is a upstream and downstream. So where whenever the data changes in the source system, what want to do is you want to immediately sync that data to the target system. So it might be anything, right? It might be insert, it might be update, delete, anything can happen in the source system, and immediately you want to reflect that in the target system. So the purpose might be different purpose, right? So this is a business use case that you want to do, where you want to immediately sync the data, right? And as I said, it might be insert, update, delete, anything. So you want to do this using some messaging system. So you might use any messaging services here, right? So you can see, consider this as a Kafka, HTTP, or you might use RPC kind of connectivity, or you might use RabbitMQ kind of a like any kind of a component you use here, right? So definitely you need to code explicitly. You need to, in all these cases, you need to write a code. It might be a Python code, C# code, right? So and it is little similar to what the autoloader concept, you might have heard autoloader concept in Databricks. So it is very similar to that, but that autoloader has a limitations, right? So it is, the data should be in a particular format, it should be in a cloud, and all those things, right? And so here it is not limited to all of this. We will see in the next slide. But here the data activator purpose and principle is to read the data from the source system and to write the target system with some triggers and actions, right? And without the code. So in this slide, we will see how exactly the data activator, the principle, how it works, and uh, what is the main core activities that Microsoft Fabric Data Activator does, right? So the main principle here is no code, right? So you're not coding anything here. That means you are not using Python, C# or anything to actually monitor the upstream if there is anything changing in the upstream, right? And we are achieving these things using triggers, and we are, like based on some change in the events, right? So event can be anything, like the data is might be insert, updated, or deleted, and some change in data will trigger some action. In principle, it is providing real-time sync of the data, and also can trigger notification if it finds a specific pattern in data, all with no code experience. And also it acts on any type of data in Microsoft Fabric, right? It can include a slow moving data that is in data warehouse and data warehouse case, or it might be a real time streaming that is coming from the data, might be coming from the source like IoT event hub, right? And also example, you can take you can trigger a notification on event, like if the customer footfall is more, or the more invoices are getting generated. So based on that, you can trigger a alert to refill the inventory in a store, or take example of a banking domain, like where like a bank want to identify a credit card defaulters, right? So the customers who have defaulted the credit card, and based on that they want to trigger some notifications or take some actions on that. And in IT operations also you can use it for monitoring certain KPIs, and also trigger notifications based on some thresholds, right? If the KPI's limit is exceeding based on certain threshold, it can take some actions or trigger some notifications. And also in take an example of a real-time data is coming from the thermal plant, where the data is coming from the IoT event hub, and you want to want to see that if the threshold temperature is reaching of a particular boilers, if it is reaching or exceeding any limit, so you want to take some action so that you save some cost, and also you can take some safety actions. And finally, so you can see data activator no code triggers to connect your data and take actions. So here you can see, so the data activator can connect to any of these sources. It might be a to query language, event hubs, Power BI, SQL data warehouse, and anything which is there in the fabric. So, or you can say anything that is there in the one lake, because this is a fabric concept. So whatever data which is there in the fabric, it can connect to any kind of data, right? And also what it does is it will has a three steps, right? So it will have a three step, that is we will discuss in detail in the later videos. But here you can see, once the data is connected to once this data activator is connected to the data, it keeps on monitoring based on the pattern you establish. So then it will give you a ability to take a action based on some KPI or threshold patterns or complex it might be a complex pattern also, customer retention going high or down, right? So if the customer is the retention is down, or it might be high, so based on that you actually trigger a particular action, right? So and you can see what are the action. It might be a Teams notification, it might be Outlook. So and you might trigger a Power Automation workflow, and you can have some custom code also written to take the actions. So, this will be useful, right, when you're talking about rewarding a particular employees in the store based on the performance in the sales store, right, is going up. So based on that, you can see here, right, so you can write any kind of pattern here. So take for example in your Outlook, right, so you actually create a rules, right? In Outlook you create a rules, if and in that rules you define a pattern. So if the subject is so and so, and if it is coming from so and so person, right, and you can filter them to a particular folder, or you can move it to a trash. So what you are actually doing there is you are writing a pattern, right? So you are creating a pattern, and this pattern you are calling it as a rules. And if that rules is getting executed on a continuous basis based on that pattern, and if some pattern is getting identified in the data, so or in your Outlook mail, what you do is Outlook automatically does is it will take a action. So what action? It might be a delete that mail, forward that mail, or trigger some Power Automate workflow, right? It is exactly similar to what you can take in the layman language, you can take what Outlook is doing, right? So here, but here it is not. It is doing on different variety of data. That is a magic, right? So it does on all of this. You can see left hand side all of this kind of data, and it can do a data which is there, any kind of structured, unstructured data that is there in the Microsoft OneLake. So that actually is the beauty of data activator here. And finally, what exactly we are saying here is it is no code, and it detect the pattern and take the actions. So there are three things to keep in mind, right? So it is a no code. So that means you are not writing any code, and it detects the pattern that you write. So it might be anything. So that pattern is part of these rules you are writing, right? And once that anything any data which comes in which is suitable for that the rules that it is written, so it will automatically catch that and it will trigger that. So after it triggers, it will be actioned using any of this. It might be, as you said, Outlook, it might be Teams, Power Automate, or anything. So basically, so you're taking the actions in time, okay, on the without any coding experience here. So, and you can think of many use cases, and it can predominantly shift the landscape of any IT company by automating many things here. So basically, it can be process automation, automation, right? It might be any kind of automation you can think, and it can significantly save the processing cost, and it can take the timely action, and it can save the millions, billions of dollars for the business because it is taking the actions on time based on the data. So hope this concept was useful, and thanks for watching.